Action. Hi, everybody. My name is Tina Louise Spalding, and I am a trance channel. The fellow on the other part of the screen there is Ken Berenson. He is my technical wizard person and Course in Miracles student and a good friend. So we have a lot of new people joining us today. This is a sort of demonstration of what we do here on our live streaming events. So I'm going to give a little brief bio to those of you joining us for the first time. I had what's called a Kundalini awakening almost 5 years ago now. After studying A Course in Miracles for 12 years, I had a huge amount of energy coursing through my body for about a month in all different kinds of forms and combinations. And at the end of that month, I had the feeling that someone wanted to communicate with me. And to cut a long story short, my guides and teachers, Ananda, which are a group consciousness, began to connect with me through writing at first and then through speaking, using my voice to speak their teachings. And over the last 5 years, we've worked together collaboratively with many different teachers, Jesus being one of them, and we've brought into being 6 books. So those books you can check out on Amazon.com if you put in my name. And with my channeling, what I do is with Ananda, when they're coming through, I take one breath and they introduce themselves. We are with you again, dear ones, they say. And then when I channel Jesus, I take a couple of breaths. He comes in a little different form and he introduces himself as well. I am aware of what they're saying when they're saying it, but I have no direct conscious influence on what they're saying. I can even ask questions in the background and they'll answer them using my voice. If they say something that's funny or offensive in some way, I always make a comment in the back and then they will often respond. So I'm very well aware of what's going on. I can stop it at any time, but there's a great impetus within my consciousness to keep going when they're teaching. They will look after me. So I was actually channeling a lot last week and speaking a lot last week, and I do actually have a sore throat. So they may very well interrupt the channeling and tell you all that I have spoken enough words. So hopefully we're going to get an hour together here. We are getting lots of questions on the chat room. So from the new people, we do actually have a format normally where we pose questions on our website, but of course none of you know that. So I think the best thing to do today is we're going to answer the voted up question on our website, Ken. And then we will take some of these spontaneous questions from our guests so that they can get a taste of the kind of work that we're doing here. And then at the end of the broadcast, we'll give you an opportunity for a discount to join us on a more regular basis if you find this useful to you. So we'll let you do the first question and go from there.
Okay, should I read the question?
Yeah.
Okay, let me just refresh the page. There's lots of questions there today. Let's see. Yeah, we usually let people post. I posted in the chat room the link for the question page so that everyone can see them and post there. So there's been lots of new posts. But the first one is from Theo. The formal media don't say a word about it, but I can see the chemtrails every day in the morning. What are they spraying in our skies? What do they do that for? Are governments behind this? What can we do to stop that? So that's the most voted question.
Okay. So I'm going to bring Ananda through, and we'll see what they have to say about this. We're with you again, dear ones. First of all, we want to say welcome to those of you that are joining us for the first time. These teachings are a profound way to shift your consciousness and to transform your view of the world and your place in it and your body, your health, your relationships, all of the aspects of life that you experience as you. So we want to respond to this question with a little preamble. So please forgive us if we don't go directly into answering your question. Many of the questions that you pose come from your particular worldview, and we would say it's a limited worldview. Your question presupposes that you can be hurt by your environment. Your question presupposes that you are a victim of your governments. Your question presupposes that there are secrets being kept. Your question presupposes that there is some reason for fear and panic. And what we would like you to know is that this question and those suppositions that you have made give you an insight into your worldview. Your worldview has these beliefs in it, that the government is out to get you, that you are in danger, that you are being acted upon. And these teachings are very, very clear that there are two different ways of viewing the world, the universe, your experience here. And the view that we are helping to educate you towards is what's called a non-dualistic view. In the dualistic world, there are the good guys and the bad guys. In the dualistic world, there is birth and death. In the dualistic world, there is an aggressive world acting upon you from which you must defend yourself. In non-dualistic teachings, we teach that there is only one energy, and it is love. It is either flowing or it is blocked. And each one of you are blocking energy in your own way. You would not be in a body on this earth plane if you were not blocking love, because this is a place of not love in many ways. It is an experience of separation from love. And our purpose is to teach you how to remove the blocks to the awareness of love's presence. That means there is a big umbrella up above you and you're holding it, and the love is pouring down on you, and you are saying, I am unloved. I'm unlovable. Nobody loves me. God has abandoned me. There is no love here. And yet this love is cascading down upon you. Interestingly enough, so are the components of your chemtrails. So we want to honor your question, and what we want you to say is that because of the training that you have had in your society, the decades, the millennia of training that you have had in your society, that you are one little individual body, that you are weak, that you have no influence, that you only have one vote every 4 years, and that is the only way you can change the world. That teaching, those teachings that you had and your parents had and your parents' parents had, and on through many, many generations of indoctrination into powerlessness, you have created as a collective oppressive regimes which reflect back to you your powerlessness or your belief in your littleness. And that is why some of these oppressive systems that you see acting out in the world now are so large, because all of you, through your mass indoctrinations, have been trained into smallness. And so each one of you are sending out silent messages from your hearts and minds. I am so small, I have no effect in this world. I hate that person. I hate myself. I need that person to feel good. I haven't got enough money. These are the kinds of thoughts that go through the individual's minds in Western civilization. These thoughts are all dualistic thoughts. That means that you believe in the world, you believe in birth and death, you believe in the fact in your mind that you can be hurt. From our point of view, we see you as timeless beings. You existed before your birth, and you decided to come into physical incarnation to experience certain things that you believed in and that you wanted to explore more of. That is a fine decision. But when you alight on a planet that teaches you so many incorrect things, that teaches you so many fearful things, and continues to indoctrinate you day by day with terror on the news, with tales of new diseases developing, all kinds of things that keep you in this very, very fearful state, then what we are saying to you does not really make sense, because you have gone deep into fear. You've gone deep into the rabbit hole, we call it, and you have lost touch with the truth, which is that you are a divine aspect of God mind, exploring consciousness and getting to experience everything that is entertained in your mind. So if you think about what is entertained in your mind in this world, as we say, terrorist attacks almost daily now on your newscasts, violent movies and tales of deception and murder used for entertainment in your society, you can see that the minds in which you are living have been contaminated with very many unloving ideas. These chemtrails are physical demonstrations of the contamination of your minds. That is what they are. They are a physical reflection of your contaminated minds, minds contaminated with selfishness, fear, condemnation, arrogance, littleness, self-loathingness, all of these things. So the poisoning that you're seeing of your world is reflecting the poisoning that you have allowed to happen to your consciousnesses. You have allowed your minds to be poisoned through the ingestion, the voluntary ingestion of many negative ideas. But we are not here to blame you. We are not here to condemn you in any way. We are merely here to let you know what has happened so that you can begin to shift and change your consciousness, knowing that the world is going to give you a different reflection. For that is the one truth that we want to leave you with as we answer this question. This world is reflecting the inner state of being of all of the beings that reside here on this plane. And because you have used your free will to consume violence and to be violent against yourself in your own minds and to be judgmental and fearful, those are the manifestations that that frequency brings into being. You come into this place full of spirit. Watch little children come into this world. They are little love bugs. They look at you adoringly. They want love. They will lay in your arms all day. And when they start to walk, they are so brave. It doesn't matter if they fall over. They get up again and again and again. They rush to you to give you a kiss. They are full of enthusiasm and passion for life. And it is what is done to you systematically over the years that brings these untruths to bear on your ability to create. We want you to know that the more you focus on love, the less you focus on judgment, the more forgiving you are, the less concerned you are about what's happening on the other side of the world, the better off you will be. Now, you have been taught in your society that to ignore the disasters and suffering all around the world make you a bad person. This is one of the great misteachings in your society. We want you to know that your PowerPoint, your most effective moment is in the here and now, where you are right now. You have a choice. You can focus on fear or you can focus on love. You can focus on what's wrong with the world, and that will lower your frequency and cause you to create more fear inside your own heart and mind. And guess what that will create? It will create physical, mental, and emotional demonstrations of that frequency. What we want you to understand is that you must accept where you are. And if you feel bad, if you feel frightened, if you feel overcome by the world that you're looking at, pull in your view. Turn off your televisions, stop going to the movies, and begin to live where you are. Live with your friends. Start doing things with your friends that don't involve mass media. Start doing things with your family, the children in your family, your own children or your cousins or your nieces or nephews. Take them to the park, take them fishing in a river, take them gardening, take them to see some beautiful art. But turn off your mass media systems. These are the systems that are increasingly causing the disturbances and disruptions in your minds. And those disturbances and disruptions and fears and feeling overwhelmed by the world are what are helping to maintain the systems that are at play at this time on your planet. Yes, there are government programs that are secret. Yes, there are government programs that don't have your best interest at heart. Yes, there are government programs that you would be shocked to know the content of. But that doesn't really help you, does it? what we want you to know, that as collective creators on this plane, you must attend to your frequency. You must attend to your own love. You must attend to your own health and your own creativity. And in that attention, you will begin to emit a different frequency. And that is what these teachings are for. They are to bring you into alignment with love, for that is your home, that is your nature. You are a divine aspect of the creator force that you call God, but it is a benevolent, ever extending, loving energy that always, always is flowing. When you feel abandoned, alone, frightened, or whatever, it is you that is stopping your connection to that. But it has been so long in the making, generation after generation of fear-inducing teachings on your society, that you must be a little patient. You must be willing to study a little bit and practice a little bit before you start to alleviate those sensations and feelings within your own consciousness. So gazing up at the sky at chemtrails, saying, woe is me, is not going to help you at all. In fact, that fear is going to empower the powers that be. So we want you to look up and say, chemtrails, that's not very healthy. What can I do to make my world healthier? Can I ingest healthy material in terms of entertainment? Yes, you can. Can you ingest healthy foods to the best of your ability given your environment? Yes, you can. Pick organic foods if you possibly can do it. Can I focus on something that is not attacking me? If I go to a war movie, if I go to a blockbuster killer movie, well, that is very much attacking me. I can feel it in that energy. Then I will not go to those things. And each of these components, each of these aspects of your free will expressing itself is contributing to the world you see. And this is the message that we must give to all of you. We must say, take back your minds, take back your hearts, take back your thoughts, your words, and your deeds. And you will have to do it through training yourself to do it. For there has been a lot of time and a great deal of money and effort put into training you into fear. But you are sovereign beings. You have forgotten your sovereign beings. You are misusing your free will to feed the machines of destruction and war and consumption on your planet. And only you can stop it. There is no cavalry coming to save you. Only you can raise your frequency out of the realms of victimhood into the realms of love. And it is there that that frequency will create the world that you want to experience. We are Ananda. We will return shortly.
Thank you. That was nice. I can hear that they're speaking to a much
Yes.
broader audience now. It's quite interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I also wanted just to know, everyone, that the really fast and easy way to clarify your mind is through A Course in Miracles. That's kind of what they're saying as well. It's a very good teaching that clarifies the mind with mantras and different kinds of things, and explains you how God sees the world, basically. So it's really good. And
also they have brought these books through me. There's 6 books now that go into various belief systems in our world. So they've tackled sex, they've tackled life after death, they've tackled religion, they've tackled love, they've tackled modern conditioning programs. And the last book actually is about the Holocaust and extraterrestrials. But they do ask you not to start with the book, even though it's very enticing to start with that one. They have told us that each of these books is a building block towards being able to change your mind and align yourself with love. So if you do decide to read some of the books, please do start with the first one, and trust that they are shifting our consciousness one book at a time for a reason.
Yeah, they're amazing. Tina's books, they're just hands down. Okay. Should we have another question? I'm just jumping a bit down now since we have so many questions. So, hi Jesus, what is the meaning behind crop circles? Is there extra energy coming in from extraterrestrial beings lately, and what to use it for? That's from Linneo. Yeah.
Okay, I'll bring Jesus through and we see what he has to say about crop circles. I don't know if he's ever been asked about crop circles before.
Wow.
No, not one of you are here by mistake. I am that one that you know as Jesus, and the teachings that are coming through this being are designed to shift and change your consciousness so that you may be at peace, so that you may realize your nature, so that you may be free to decide completely and absolutely what kind of experience you would like to have here. Many of you do not feel free. Many of you feel so impinged upon by your traditions and your cultural teachings that there is anything but a feeling of freedom coursing through your bodies at this time. When I came to the earth plane so many years ago, that was also my mandate, to teach freedom. And your crop circles are an additional element in this ever increasing intention from our side, the non-physical side, the higher consciousness realms. This is an added element to push you towards expanding your consciousness. When you look at the crop circles, you will see that there are increasing difficulty in the execution of these. Initially, humans were seen to be running around with planks, making these circles, not very elegantly, we would add, in the grass and the wheat. But now you see elaborate and increasingly difficult and complex designs coming through. These are not only a cause, but a reflection of your consciousness. These are not only designed to stimulate you, but they are designed to reflect back to you that you are doing well. How do crop circles come into being? Well, there are many consciousness influences in your planet that you are completely unaware of because of your poor education. If you look at a snowflake, for example, you will see an infinite number of beautiful designs that arise from seemingly nowhere. They come out of the ethers at a certain temperature, forming these most intricate designs. That design is coming from consciousness as well. The beautiful consciousness that permeates every cell in your body, the beautiful consciousness that permeates every light beam that comes from the universe. This consciousness is love. It is organized. It is structured. It is seeking evolution. It is ever extending. It is ever expanding. It is ever changing. And the results of that consciousness can be seen on your earth plane. And when we say ever changing, we mean the forms are ever changing of this energy that is always expressing itself, life on your planet. Now, crop circles are a divine form of consciousness expression, if you will. There are beings that are not human. They would be considered higher consciousness beings. That means they do not possess bodies like you, but they have the ability to exert influence with their consciousness. And that is how those crop circles are formed. They are using light to actually get close to the ground and maneuver around those particular crops. And that is how the consciousness manipulates the environment in which you are to bring those shapes and configurations into being. Many of these shapes and configurations are in fact two-dimensional representations of three-dimensional images. They are formed in crops for a particular reason. They are formed in highly populated areas. You will note that there are not very many crop circles coming from any remote areas. These crops are planted in very, very busy parts of the world where they cannot be easily edited out. Even if a farmer does not want a crop circle in his or her backyard, too late. Within a few days, there are pictures of it all around the world, and those sacred geometry images are shifting all of your minds. They are designed to do that. They are designed to get you to ask a question. This cannot be done physically. Where's it coming from? There must be something else at play here other than the forms and the structures of our ordinary world. When you begin to ask questions like that, your mind actually has to grow. Your mind actually has to expand itself. And that is what all of these teachings were when I was on the earth plane so many years ago. That is what the teachings are for, that are transcribed into A Course in Miracles. They are text and theory and lessons designed to change your mind because your minds have been changed. The lack of freedom you feel, the lack of creativity, or the confusion you feel in this modern world are demonstrations of what has been done already to your mind. There will be beings that say, well, this sounds like a cult. They're asking you to study things. They're asking you to change your mind. They're asking you to repeat ideas. Trust us, you have had all of those things done to you, and they have been done in an unloving way. They have been done in a limiting way, forcing you into little boxes, not only physically, but mentally and emotionally. And this is where your suffering comes from on this planet. You are being asked to live in highly urbanized environments without any contact with nature. You are being asked to restrict your feelings and emotions so that you can fit into a 40-hour work week. You are being asked to conform into structures of relationship that are not natural for you. You are naturally creative, expanding, expressive, loving beings. And you are being indoctrinated into a limited and hateful and violent world. Just watch your televisions if you have any questions about that. And of course, we say watch your televisions with a great caution, because it is there that you are being so deeply indoctrinated. And for all of you that are joining us for the first time, first of all, we say thank you for opening your hearts and minds enough for coming into this conversation, for posing questions, for stepping out of your comfort zone. But for all of you that are not regular members here, we say turn your televisions off. We say stop watching the violence, stop believing in the propaganda that is forcing you into smaller and smaller and more aggressive stance. When you look at the reactions of your fellow beings, when they consume this kind of violence repeatedly now, day after day after day, pictures of war, pictures of terrorist attacks, pictures of violence and fear being broadcast into your minds, you have one thing at your disposal that they cannot take away from you, and that is your ability to choose. You have the ability to say, no, that is enough. This war and violence that I'm consuming is not helping me. I can feel it. It's making me frightened. It's making me want to attack back. It's making me want to destroy my fellow brothers and sisters on this planet, and I do not want any more of it. We see what war brings. We see relentless century after century warmongering being promoted. The beautiful young men and women of your countries going to war, not coming back, or coming back missing limbs. Do not do it anymore, dear ones. Turn off your televisions and say enough is enough. I am going to embody peace from now on. I'm going to feed my mind peace from now on. Whoever's in charge of my society, whoever's in charge of these radio waves and television waves, does not have your best interests at heart. And we want you to know that the consciousnesses that are creating crop circles are trying to expand your minds, trying to give you information in a way that cannot be edited by your television screens. If these beings had a message for all of you, some of you will say, why don't they go on television? Why don't they get interviewed on Oprah? And we will say to you, there is an editing system at play in your television and news networks that would never allow this information to come through, whether it is alternative energy systems that are being demonstrated, or messages about the structure of your solar system, or your time-space reality. Many of these things are edited out and you are dumbed down. You are not allowed to come to see these things. And so crop circles are a way, an international way, an unedited way that messages from higher realms can be introduced into your limited minds. And believe us, if all of the information that was available from these realms of higher consciousness came to you, you would, because of your training, you would, because of your fearful minds, cower in the corner sucking your thumbs. It cannot come in one big wave. You would not survive it. Your minds are not trained to understand it. So we are all trying in our own ways, through words, through miracles, through crop circles, through transmissions, through extraterrestrial communications, we are all working towards informing you so that you understand that love is the way, forgiveness is the path. This sounds very esoteric to many of you that live ordinary lives, but we want you to understand that in the practice of forgiveness, you understand that you're all connected. You understand that you're all confused, and you understand that all of you are acting quite poorly and in an unloving way. And at times you must step back and say, this person does not know what they are doing. Yes, they are being mean, or yes, they are acting in a way that is unacceptable. But what I know is that they too have been raised in a crazy world. And for this moment, I'm going to forgive them. I'm going to forgive people in my past that have seemingly hurt me. But here I am living my life. They cannot have done that much damage. I let them go too, so that I may claim my mind back, my sovereign mind back, my own heart back, so that I can bring all of my energies to bear in focusing on the kind of world I do want. You all get more of what you focus on. And so these crop circles are there to get your attention. They're inexplicable in your world. They're beautiful in your world. And you are incredibly curious about them. And it is that combination of fascination and beauty and curiosity that is expanding your mind now. So if you would like to expand your mind some more, we would say go onto a crop circle website and look at some of those images. They are all sacred geometries, and they will speak to the deeper part of your consciousness. That is what they are designed to do. I am that one that you know as Jesus, and there are many beings that would say, well, Jesus talking about crop circles, this proves that this woman is a liar or an actress or some such thing. But we want you to know that the history of your planet is not as it has been told to you. My life story was not as it was told to you. I am not who you were told I am. I am a being, a highly evolved being that went through many incarnations, and my last incarnation was 2,000 years ago on the earth plane. And in that incarnation, I demonstrated my mastery of my own mind and my own heart, and that is all you saw. I am not the only son of God. I am just like you. You are my brothers and sisters. And if you master your heart and mind too, you will perform miracles as well. Miracles are natural. Miracles are love expressing itself. They have become isolated and tales of mythology in your society, but that is only because you have been taken so far from love. You must all make this decision now to step towards love more and more and more. And that is what this ministry is for. It is to encourage you to turn your televisions off, to look at your immediate family and your immediate surroundings and say, where can I be more loving here? First of all, to yourself. Are you being unkind to yourself with your inner dialogue? Are you being unkind to yourself with your use of violent entertainment and poor foods? Are you being unkind to yourself when you think you should be better or different than you are? This is the place you start. And from that place of loving yourself, you then will be better equipped to love those around you. This is a very, very timely message. The world now is increasing in its frequency, and those of you that are caught in fear and confusion are going to become more fearful and more confused if you don't turn your televisions off. If you don't attend to your own frequency, the mind that is lost in fear and confusion is going to go deeper and deeper into fear and confusion, and you will not be able to manage yourself if you take that route. So we ask all of you today that are still consuming commercial television, turn it off and find something beautiful and creative and kind and compassionate and self-fulfilling to pursue with your time. I am that one that you know as Jesus. And these teachings come from the heart of love. That is what you all come from as well, but you have forgotten. And it is the heart of love. It is the mind aligned with love. It is the actions in accord with those thoughts and feelings. That is how you are going to change the world. You are not going to change the world by watching television or seeing the latest terrorist attacks coming into your beautiful, quiet living room. Turn that switch off, unplug that thing, and take it outside and let it go from your life. We know that that is a drastic statement for many of you and that you cannot do it. But we cannot emphasize enough how poor television is for your loving heart and mind. It contaminates it every time you turn it on. And even when you don't turn it on with the new televisions, it is emitting a frequency that is asking you to turn it on. It is a great device of manipulation. It always has been and it always will be. It is not an entertainment device. It is a hypnotic device, and it was designed to suck you in as a society, and what a job it has done. We love you all very much on this side, and we all want the best for you. And it breaks our hearts to see you lost in these tales of fear and woe and disaster. And because you do not understand the laws of creation, because you do not know that what you focus on, you get more of, because you do not know that when you feel bad, that means that you are off track, you are lost, you are stepping away from love. You keep doing the same thing over and over again. It is the definition of insanity, but we want you to know that there is another way. This being has written books that gently guide you towards a more loving consciousness, that gently reveal to you where you are hurting yourself, that gently reveal to you where you are disempowering yourselves. And that is where we would like you to go today. We would like you to go check out those books and read the reviews and read a little excerpt that they give you to check out the information and come to see that now is the time to stop putting bad information into your minds, warmongering information into your minds, judgmental information into your minds. Now is the time to join in this consciousness revolution and decide that you are the chooser here. Today, in this moment, you choose what goes into your mind, you choose what goes out of your mouth, and it is those things that sow the seeds of your tomorrow, not only individually, but for your family and for your collective consciousness, which is the world you call planet Earth. We will return shortly.
Wow. They go for it, don't they?
They should. Crop circles turns into something completely different.
That's really cool.
It's very good.
Yeah, they're really beautiful, these crop circles, I have to say.
I went to design school 5 years ago now, and we had to do projects, and one of my big projects was crop circles. So I had to design a movie poster and an advertising campaign. It was great. For 2 weeks, all I did was look at crop circles. It was fun.
Yeah, nice. You almost have a crop circle behind you.
Oh yeah, I guess it is kind of, isn't it? Yeah.
It's kind of, yeah. It kind of looks like that. All right. I've kind of gone through lots of questions here, and I thought to choose one that didn't have any votes for once, just because it probably came very shortly. So this one is from Jess. What is the spiritual basis for autoimmune illness, and what methods would you recommend for me to self-heal a chronic Epstein-Barr virus? Much love, Jeshua.
Good question. I'll bring Ananda through for that. We're with you again, dear ones. Your bodies are one of the great reflectors of your minds, and that is the first thing that we would say to the dear being that asked this question. We would like you to know that every single cell in your body, every single process in your body, the organs, the hair on your head, the skin on your toes, everything is being created from your own consciousness. That is the beingness that brings your body into being. The body did not come into being and then you decided to be generated from random thoughts and ideas. That is the determinist way of looking at things. The physical did not come first. The mental and emotional came first. You were a consciousness that existed before your body was conceived in your mother's body. And you decided that you wanted those parents and that you were going to come into that family, and that your body design was going to be perfect to experience the incarnation that you had in pre-birth conferences with your guides and teachers and elders, more evolved consciousness beings. You decided that this particular blueprint would suit your evolutionary purposes. And so as you come through into physical beingness, and you call it being born, there is a lot coming in with that baby, and that is their interests, their personality type, their physical structure, how tall they'll be, how healthy they'll be. Many, many things come into being through that birthing process that are predetermined. However, you come into this society that is very, very quick to quell those passions and desires, very, very quick to quell that vital life force, we will call it. Throughout all of you is coursing an energy. It's called vital life force, and it is spirit speaking through you, and it is manufacturing your body. If you decide that you do not want to live anymore, if you decide this world is no fun, if you decide this world is pointless and offers you nothing, slowly, slowly that vital life force will recede from your experience. First of all, it will manifest itself in things like sadness or feeling blue. If you keep telling that story in your mind, it will manifest into depression. If you keep telling that story in your mind, it will manifest into deep depression, and then ideas of suicide will cross your mind, and you will think, this world is hell. I can prove it. I'm living in it. I hate every moment of it. But what has happened in that mind is that the teachings about your value, about society, about how to make things happen in this world, which are often wrong, almost always wrong, have created a feeling of powerlessness, a feeling of not being able to bring into being what it is you would like to have. And this is a chronic problem in your society right now, based on your education systems, based on your religious dogma, and of course, based on your beautiful television broadcasts. So we want you to know the first thing that you must accept is that the vital life force and consciousness within your body that wants to be healthy is the part of you, the true part of you that came in, that unaltered soul that came into this incarnation and decided that it did want to have an experience here. The part of you that is creating and manifesting chronic fatigue is the part that has been affected by all of the conditioned beliefs and ideas that you have taken into your mind in ignorance over your lifetime. We will say to you here that in your particular case, you can cure your chronic fatigue by transforming your mind, because it is the mind. It is the daily thoughts you entertain. It is the stories you tell yourself. It is the family of origin mythologies that you keep repeating that are manifesting in an autoimmune disease. What is an autoimmune disease? It is the body attacking you. But you are the commander of this ship. You are the captain of your own vessel, and you have the ability to direct your mind wherever you wish. But you have not been taught that your thoughts are creative. You have not been taught that telling people about your sickness is strengthening your sickness. You have not been taught these things. You have not been taught how things come into manifestation. And so you inadvertently entertain negative ideas, or perhaps when you're feeling really low and don't want to go out into the world, you'll turn on a movie or some such thing that is full of action, because you cannot be full of action right now. Some of the action will be violent. There are very few action movies in your world that do not promote death, that do not promote the killing of other humans. And that frequency is out of accord with health. And we want all of you that are listening today to remember that when you watch something that's violent, you are out of the frequency of health. You are out of the frequency of love, and you are out of the frequency of living for a long time in a strong and productive and healthy way. When you watch these kinds of things, even if it is for entertainment, as you call it, your brain, which is naturally aligned with love, is distorted. It is shut down a little bit. It is lessened a little bit. And each time you take this poisonous medicine, you are in fact doing the same thing to the whole cellular structure of your body. So that's the first thing we would say to you. What are you ingesting in terms of entertainment? And what are you ingesting and consuming in terms of repetitive thought? What kinds of things do you say about yourself? What kinds of things do you say about the world? What kinds of things do you say about your body? Your body is a feedback system. It is a reflective device that is designed to show you how well your consciousness evolution journey is going. And if it is floundering, if it is suffering, if it is having a really difficult time, then we want you to know that the feedback system is working. And this is the other thing that we would like you to do. We would like you to thank your body for drawing your attention to the things that you are thinking about and the things that you are consuming and the things that you are saying. And if you are honest with yourself, you will hear your voice and your mind, and you will know that there are a lot of self-attacking thoughts going on in there. Arthritis is another disease that manifests in this form. So know that there are physical remedies that can help you, but we would like you to go to the natural world. We would like you to find a herbalist or a trained medicinal, we will say which. Somebody who knows their herbs, somebody who knows all of the natural plants of the world, and go to them and tell them what is going on with you, and ask them to begin to systematically prescribe you with naturally derived organic medicines from Gaia, Mother Earth. She has been given all of the plants that you need to heal yourselves. That was part of her agreement with humanity. And so that is what we want you to do. We would like you to do that, and we would like you to begin to read the books that we have penned through this being. And once you have got into one or two of those, we would like you to begin the Course in Miracles lessons. This seems like a very, very heavy prescription to somebody who wants a silver bullet. You are all trained into being given a silver bullet, but there is none. This is a systematic climbing out of the pit of unlovingness. And that is the advice that we would give to most of you that are having difficulty with a health issue. We would say, find a natural herbalist, person who disseminates remedies from Gaia. Make sure they're qualified, obviously. Make sure that they explain to you why they're giving you what they're giving you. And in concert with that, step back from judgment, step back from indulging in any kind of violent consumption of anything that is out of accord with love, and you will find that your body will begin to respond. Why? Because you are aligning with love. You are aligning with healing. You are saying through all of your thoughts, words, and actions, enough is enough. This body is showing me that I'm off track with my thinking, because we know that if you are not present, your body will not live without you. When you leave your body, the body is a corpse. It was animated by you. It is caused by you. It is generated second by second by you. And you are the one that is deciding on what you will think, what you will say, how you will act. All of these things are your decision. You have the choice. You have the free will. And you have the ability to heal yourself. But you must understand that the body is not attacking you. You are attacking the body. The body is a demonstration of your separation from love. It is always that. In your society, you are told that the body was created by God. Well, it was created by your decision to step away from love into separation and individuality so that you could have a particular experience. And your alignment with love, which is your connection to God, changes the purpose of the body. Your purpose for the body when you came into this world was to step away from love and down into a lower frequency of separation so that you could pursue your idols and your dreams and your fantasies and whatever it was that you thought was important. And you were allowed to do that because you are loved. But what we want you to know is that when you hold that frequency of separation and fear, then the body begins to suffer. It is telling you that you're away from your home frequency. You're away from that frequency from which you came, and that is love. So get back on the path to love, self-love first of all, through loving thoughts, loving ideas, loving words, and loving actions, and seeking some material, physical help from somebody who is well-versed with the medicines that Gaia agreed to share with humanity. Remember, your pharmaceuticals have nothing to do with nature, and many of their original mixtures were natural remedies that were found in the woods and the flora of your planet, and then they were chemicalized and man-made. Get back to the simple, get back to the green, get back to the light, get back to the love, and your body will find its way to peace and health again.
Wow. Yeah, I guess it's the most natural you can get with food and stuff and medicines, the better it is. That's kind of what I think.
Yeah, I think so. I think all spirituality aside, I think they've proven that the beings that are happy and healthy and live long lives are the ones that live closest to nature, unprocessed foods, activity, good communities. That's really the science behind this. It's nothing new. If you look at the long-lived people in Japan and the Caucasus, they're active throughout their life. They have loving societies. They eat organic food. They don't retire. They don't focus on money as the most valuable thing. There's real good science behind all of those longevity studies. And miraculously, when they move to the West, they start to get fat. They start to get cancer. They start to get depressed. They start to eat bad food. It's very, very clearly proven. So I don't think that's really news to anyone. But sometimes we need to be reminded that the way we live isn't natural.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially the ones that are consumed in it and doesn't really see the way. I remember when I was young, I just saw that, oh, this is healthy. Oh, frozen vegetables. I don't like it, but I don't like vegetables, I thought. So it's you don't really know.
Yeah, it's a total, it's what they call it, a whole thought system.
Yeah.
It's usually when we start to get sick or we start to get suicidal or something really not doing very well, then we think, wow, this system isn't working for me. Yeah. But because it's so heavily marketed and we're just so habituated to it, it's usually a sickness that gets us to step away from it.
Yeah. Should we do another question? How's your throat, by the way?
It's okay.
Yeah.
So far, so good.
Sweet. Okay. Thought we can do some about vaccines. There's one from Cindy here. That's a touchy subject.
It's a big one.
Yeah, let me read her. How can I protect my grandson from vaccines if his parents don't quite get the dangers, and I know the more I push, the more stubborn they become? I pray for his and all children's safety in this. The states are mandating them and won't let them in school, I guess, if they don't have them. I have no money at this time to fight it or offer any alternative. Please help me and countless others. Thank you. I love you so much. I know that you know that.
Beautiful.
Thanks, Cindy.
Well, I will lead in with this. I did channel, in Great Minds Speak to You, I channeled the Jonas Salk, who invented the vaccines initially for polio. And his comment in that channeling was to vaccinate your children as little as possible. And he was very, very vehement about that. He said what's happening now has nothing to do with what he invented when he first did the first vaccine. And but I'll get Jesus to speak to this lady's particular problems here.
Cool.
Your problems are challenging ones at this time in your world. These systems of control and manipulation have been in effect for a very, very long time in an effort to constrain your natural, loving, healthy selves. I am that one that you know as Jesus, and these times are challenging ones for those of you that feel victimized by the world. These times are very difficult for those of you that are looking at the end result of many tens of years of practice and indoctrination by your ruling systems. The only way that you can affect the world is to change your own mind. And this is not what any of you want to hear, because you see these systems really impinging upon the health of your loved ones. You see these systems impinging upon your freedoms. You see these systems attacking you personally, even restricting your ability to move and change and live where you want to live and how you want to live. But we want to assure you that based on the laws of creation, which are that whatever you focus on increases and will be attracted to you, if you understand those laws, then you will understand that going into fear, worrying about your grandchild, is not a frequency of love. It is a frequency of fear, which is the opposite end of the spectrum of love. So what you want to understand is that your contribution to this child's life will be the transforming of your own mind. Now, for those of you that are seeing these very, very difficult times on your planet, it is very hard for you to understand that these systems are falling away. But you will notice that there are more and more discussions on your computers about the negative health effects of vaccines. There are people who are stepping up now who have 20 years experience with these chemicals, saying originally they were very, very effective, but now the way they are being used in the quantities and with the components that are part of that mix, these are no longer effective. They are no longer tolerable for little bodies. And that is really what you must bring into your children's arena. You must bring scientific information if you want to have a dialogue with them about it, because it is science that has told them that this is safe. It is science and propaganda indoctrination that has told them that this is safe, and they are using fear and intimidation to make this mandate effective. We want you to know that if something is very effective, if something is working, you don't have to frighten people into using it. You don't have to coerce people into using it. They will use it voluntarily. And if, as these beings say, vaccinations work, then the unvaccinated children should not be any threat to the vaccinated children. This is simple logic. If these vaccinations work, then the unvaccinated children, if they get sick, will not infect the vaccinated children. This is logic. Think about it. So these are some of the ways that you can set up a dialogue with these beings, but we would counsel against it right now. We would get you to inform yourself, not in a fear frequency, but in a scientific and methodical way, collecting information. If this is a subject that you want to get yourself active in politically or socially. If you are looking at it purely as a family issue, purely as a disagreement that you have with the philosophy that your children are impinging upon their child, then you must get to a place of acceptance, which means that you must allow them to have their own experience, just as you made decisions when they were babies. You made them with your heart and your mind and your conditioning and your teachings, religious, social, familial. You made your decisions with your children, and some of them were good and some of them were probably less than optimum. And if you go back and look at those decisions, you will see, yes, this was a good idea. That one, not such a good idea. And you were given the freedom to choose. You must give them the freedom to choose. You can express your concern. You can express your desire for knowledge. You can love up your little grandchild with all of the healthy foods that are and physical affection that you know are going to help him thrive. Give him or her, however many children come along, give them that which will help them thrive. That means that you will teach them sanity. You will be affectionate and loving and kind with them. You will show them how they can learn and grow, and you will be infusing them with love, which is the frequency that will attract to them healthy outcomes. Remember, you're not a victim of the world you see, and this child is not a victim of the world he is in, even though your teachings tell you he is. He's little, he can't make any decisions. He chose to come into that family. He chose to have the experience he is having. And there are beings that have come into this time-space reality to allow what you would consider very negative things to happen to them, to teach your society where it is off track. There are highly evolved beings that say, I will go in and I will go into a war zone and I will be there for a little while. Maybe I will be there for 3 or 4 years. But if there are enough of us that go in and do that, then we may get to show this planet what love, the lack of love, does. So it is not always what you think is happening is happening. You've been given your free will. You've raised your children in the way that you deemed favorable for your experience, and you must allow your children to do the same thing. But as a member of this family, you can increase your ability to love all of them. And as you increase your frequency through the practices that we describe in A Course in Miracles and the books that are coming through this being, as you re-educate yourself, you will see where you are attacking. You will see where you're fearful. You will see where you're judgmental and where you're body focused. What we want you to understand is that the more body focused you become, the more fearful you become. For the body is associated with separation from love. That is what it demonstrates in no uncertain terms on this earth plane. And that is why this world is so confusing for so many of you, because you have been told that God created this world and that God created these bodies and that God created everything that is killing you and harming you. And it makes no sense to your minds because it is not true. God is love and nothing else. Anything that is not loving is not of God. And that is what you want to align yourself with now. To the best of your ability, re-educate your mind, dear one. Re-educate your self-understanding. Re-educate yourself as you come to understand these teachings, and you will infuse more and more love into the situation. And as more love is brought into the situation, as you increase that frequency within your family, different decisions will be made, because these decisions are fear-based decisions. These decisions are intimidating, are induced by intimidation. And those frequencies can be changed by you changing your frequency. So do the internal personal work first. You must come to a place of acceptance so that you can maintain your relationships with these beings. If you attack and judge and separate, you will have no influence on them. If you train your mind and increase your love frequency, you will be emitting that frequency within the family, and you will see miracles. It's called A Course in Miracles for a reason, because when you change, the world around you must change. And we would say this to all of you that are struggling with these chemtrails and these oppressive systems. Change your mind, step away from fear, step away from body identification, align with love, align with your spirit, align with your feelings, align with your interior world. Once it has been clarified by the lessons of A Course in Miracles, you will get very, very clear guidance about where and how to live. And it is in that clear guidance, once the contamination of fear has left your minds, that you will get the answers that you're looking for. But when you are body-focused, fear-focused, judgmental, and angry and aggressive, you will only ever attract the same things to you. And this is the law of the world. And that is why When you bomb people, they attack you back. It is a simple law of reflection. When you hold the frequency of hatred, that is what you will experience. And that is what sickness is. That is what death is. That is what the warmongering and terrorists' attacks are on your society right now. You are seeing the frequency of war permeating every single scene that you see. But if you go into the depths of the forest, if you go into the depths of nature, you will see a system in balance. You will see the predators and the prey, yes, but you will see a system of peace and light and love, and you will see amazing amounts of different kinds of creatures and consciousness living together in peace and harmony and balance. And they are there to show you that there is a different way. They are there to show you that you have become lost in your urbanized, technological, warmongering, movie-watching world. And the more that you can get back to understanding that cooperative kind of frequency, the better off you will all be. That is what these teachings are designed to do. They are designed to get you to understand that there are all different kinds of consciousnesses on this world. They all look different from you. They sound different from you. But if you come from a place of peace and love, you can all live together, creating a beautiful ecosystem, just like in the depths of the forest. That is what we would encourage you to do. Go and sit on a log by a stream in the middle of nowhere and watch the life around you. Watch how occasionally a tree falls down. It is true. Sometimes things die in that environment, but it lives a fearless life. It expresses itself in all its wonderment for as long as it does. And that is the way that we want you all to live. We want you to come into this place, expressing yourself freely and lovingly with the inner direction that you have from spirit. And we know that your society is very confused right now. That is why these teachings are being brought through this being. That is why this communication is happening. And that is why you are here listening. But know that love is the answer. It is not judgment. It is not attack. Forgive them, for they know not what they do. And that is what you must take into your heart to come to a place of peace for now. Acceptance does not mean you want more of what you are looking at. It means that you know that if you accept and get into a state of peace, then more peace is going to come your way. It is a demonstration of your understanding of the laws of creation. If you attack, you do not understand the laws of creation. If you fear, you do not understand the laws of creation. You must look upon what you don't want and do the opposite, which is love. We will speak to you again soon.
Wow.
I just saw so clearly when he was saying about the forest, just all of the mosses and ferns and roots and mushrooms and bugs and birds and everything. Just, yeah, I saw a great picture there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a hard one with vaccines. I mean,
it is very difficult. I've had that experience myself. Yeah.
Even my friend is a doctor, and I tried to speak to him a little bit about how my belief system is, and he just doesn't understand, because he's been indoctrinated totally different.
Yeah.
So
I mean, what I do, because it is a particular subject that I do feel strongly about. There's not a lot of subjects I kind of get involved in anymore, but I just try to educate myself, and if I find some useful information that seems to be very well documented, I will share that online. And but I do know that getting really, really irate about what somebody else is doing is not going to help the situation at all, even though it feels like that's the only thing you can do. Love those little kids up and do your part in showing them a different way. I think it's the only thing you can do.
I also like what they said about figuring out the science behind why this is not good, and then go from there.
Yeah, that's what I do when I post something. I go, there was a really, really beautiful series of movies about vaccination and what chemicals are in the doses and all of these things. And that was very, very informative. The Truth About Vaccines is what it's called. But I do know that the minds that are closed, that have been indoctrinated into vaccination, it's almost impossible to make headway with them. And we have to let these things be handled by great forces greater than us, I think, honestly. But I think we have to do our part, which is to remain peaceful in our own minds and just be as in alignment with love as we can be, knowing that that's going to work some miracle somewhere with someone.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's all you can really do.
Yeah, that's true. Cool, Tina. How's your throat?
Yeah, we can do one more. Well, let's
more.
do one more question, and that'll be good for me.
Okay. I found one. I know we don't do this normally, but I found one in the chat room I thought to just attend to, since we're kind of doing all over the place today.
Yes.
So there was one question. Can you explain voices in the head, such as a person diagnosed as schizophrenic hears? And can someone else tell these disembodied voices to leave?
Woo! From a person who has voices in her head all the time.
That's why I thought it was quite fun.
It's very good. Very, very good. I'll start with my own personal take on it, because I do have voices in my head, so I do feel I have a little experience in this. I heard voices a couple of times many years before I started channeling, but I was doing a Course in Miracles. Oh no, one time was before a Course in Miracles. I heard a voice that told me to move to Salt Spring Island, where I live now. I heard a voice just before I started channeling telling me that I was believing things incorrectly and I had to change 2 particular beliefs I was holding about myself. And when I started to channel and started to feel other consciousnesses impinging upon me, what I knew was that my frequency was very high, because I'd just done 12 years of studying A Course in Miracles and practicing forgiveness. So I wasn't afraid. I was very well educated on sort of spiritual things and how they worked. And so I was able to surrender to that process and invite this communication through, knowing that it was beautiful and love focused. And the communication that first came through when they first spoke through me was a lecture on unconditional love. That's what their focus has been, and it's always been that. So I do, for me personally, I look at the evidence of what these teachings are and how loving they are. What I also know is that if you're not holding a high frequency, there are other levels of consciousness that also can impinge upon you. And I think that's what a lot is happening with people who have voices in their heads that are telling them to hurt themselves or to hate others or hurt others. So that's my own personal take on it. And my practice was never to watch anything that was possession related, ever. I've never watched anything in my whole life that is young women living in the woods and killers coming at them. Any kind of horror movie I've actually had an absolute zero tolerance for. And I think that was a contributing factor to my kind of one-mindedness when it came to connecting with higher consciousness. I would never, ever entertain any of those ideas. So I think a lot of people are entertaining those things, and they have certain frequencies. So that's my little take on it, but I'll let Ananda come through and we'll see what they say.
Thanks, Stephen.
We're with you again, dear ones. Our dear one is perfectly correct. There are many, many frequencies, just as there are many, many radio stations on your car radio. When you get into your car radio and you tune into something, if you turn the knob, you will tune into something else. You might pick up a few random staticky partial connections in between there. But when you get on a station, you will pick up more information. Now, if you are a easy listening person and you tune into a heavy metal station, you will feel bad very quickly and you will tune it to something else. That is your guidance system working perfectly. You tune into a radio station, you feel it and you don't like it, and you move on. In your society, what you are trained to do is override that guidance system. When you are a little kid and you want to jump up and play in grade 1, they tell you you're bad. that you have some punishment coming your way because you couldn't stop your wriggling little energy body from jumping out of its seat. And that will be the beginning of the indoctrination into overriding your guidance system. So many of you have a guidance system that is working in certain circumstances. That radio demonstration is a perfect example of that. But for many of you, you are brought into families that have a low frequency, and bless your hearts, you came into those families because you had a low frequency from other incarnations that you had. And there may have been negative forces at play in those families. There may have been a lot of drug use or alcoholism. Even in what you consider healthy families, there's a lot of repression and control. There was corporal punishment, physical abuse of children, yelling at them, forcing them to eat food that they did not want to eat. You do not see these as acts of violence, but they are acts of violence. They are most unloving, and we hope that with these teachings we can train more and more of you out of those what are considered normal parenting behaviors. But for many of these beings, that is where the pain started, and that is where the disconnection from love was increased. And when you are abused as a little child, when you are having that very, very difficult reflection shown to you, for it is always a reflective world, even though it is very, very difficult for you to hear as humans. All of you come in with a frequency that is reflected in your natal family. In that natal family, you are given the opportunity to join in that frequency or rise above it. And that is your free will. That is always the free will that every single being that comes down into this place has, because you are loved by that being, that energy that you call God, and you are given what you want. What you want is a physical experience, and many of you, even though you do not do well with physical experiences, you get very confused down here in the earth realm, and you become addicted or frightened or fearful, confused, all of these things. There is an overwhelming urge to sort yourself out in the physical material world, and you will come back in again even though you struggled so with it the previous incarnation. So many of these voices that are in the head are in fact an overly aggressive ego mind. The ego mind is all of the hatred you've ever been taught, all of the fear that you've ever been taught, all of the self-loathing that's ever been inflicted upon you from without. When somebody tells you that you're worthless, when somebody tells you that you're going to have a terrible life or that you're ugly, these are messages that are taken into the consciousness, and they will stay there. And often with many years of indoctrination, those voices are strengthened in the mind of what you would consider the victim, because they believe them, because they came in believing them. That is why they were hurled at them. That is why they heard them, because they believed them. And so the free will of the being that is attacked, the free will of the being that is abused, has a tendency towards that frequency, has a tendency towards saying those things to themselves as well. And it is very, very hard for you to accept that as beings that see children as innocents. They do come in with a lot of energy. They do come in with a lot of spirit, but they also come in with some baggage. Nobody else can control a human mind. You are made in the image of God, which means that you are free to choose whatever it is that you want to choose. You are incredibly creative and you are incredibly powerful. And that is what is meant by being created in the image of God. You have all of these aspects active. But because you live in an unloving society, and because you bring unloving thoughts and ideas with you into your own incarnation, and because you aren't educated properly, then these things can get out of control. These things can take over the mind. And that is really what suicide is. Suicide is a mind that can no longer live with itself. But there is a part of that mind that wants relief. There is a part of that mind that wants help. There is a part of that mind that knows something is terribly wrong. And that is the part of the mind that you must appeal to. The insane part will not listen to you. It is like a possession of a bully that has taken over the house in which that being lives. Some of that comes from the family, some of it comes from karmic history, some of it comes from the violence and horror movies that you watch for entertainment in your society. But if you are with somebody or know somebody that hears voices in their head, you must communicate with them in those quiet, sane moments and ask them to choose differently. They may be choosing some things that you know are very, very detrimental to them, but you must also know that if somebody has come to that state of beingness, there is very little that you can do other than to be loving to them when they are in a safe mood. You can talk sanely to them even though when they are not sane. You can offer them some sustenance. That means you can help them with their life cost of living if they are unable to look after themselves. That is a very loving thing to do, to drop off some food for them if they're hungry, to give them a few dollars if you can. Some of these things are acts of love that are no small thing. There are many beings that have been rescued from insanity and homelessness and deep, deep suffering by the kindness of one person. So see where you can help them in your own way, but do not feel responsible for them. You cannot change somebody else's choices. You cannot change somebody else's life. All you can do is demonstrate love to the best of your ability and train yourself so that you are a beacon of light in the darkness for everyone that meets you. We want you to know that each one of you have the ability to shine a loving light in this world. And if every single one of you did that, instead of going to war movies or joining up in the army or attacking a relative for behaving in a way that you deem as unacceptable, if you mind your own business and get your own frequency in alignment and you begin to align yourself with love, then you are the miracle worker. You become the being that is able to transform society one person at a time, one encounter at a time. But you are always emitting these great ripples of frequency that are creating throughout eternity. Do not underestimate your power. The more you align with love, the more powerful your influence is going to be. And trust in that. When you see somebody outside of you, a child or an adult or some person in distress, do what is reasonably safe for you to do in that circumstance, perhaps offering a kind hand or a kind word or a few dollars or a bag of groceries, but do your internal work yourself. Transform your own mind, transform your own heart, and know that you will be guided along a path that will increasingly expand your influence in the world. That is what aligning with love does. It increases your influence in the world, and maybe just one day you will be able to transform the mental health industry. Maybe one day you will be able to implement these teachings in schools. Maybe just one day you will have the courage to transform your world based on loving principles and kindness and the honoring of all of your brothers and sisters on this planet. That is what we want you to take away from this conversation today. We know that many of you do not hear us on a regular basis, but we would like you to take this with you today. You are a collective consciousness. You are like bees in a hive that have all decided not to cooperate with each other. And you are starving. You are starving for love. You are starving for peace. And you are starving for the sweetness of life. Begin to learn your part in this great collective consciousness experiment. And that is through knowing yourself, knowing what drives you, knowing what you're afraid of, knowing when you are in alignment and when you are out of alignment. Your guidance system is impeccable and constant, and it will tell you by how you feel. If you feel bad, you're observing the world and you're looking at it the wrong way. If you feel bad, you're observing yourself, perhaps, and you are looking at yourself the wrong way. When you turn your mind around towards love and acceptance and kindness, you will feel relief. You will feel your heart opening, and you will feel that inner shift that says, yes, that is a better decision. This is how the world is created, dear ones. One little decision at a time, one little heart opening thought at a time that creates a feeling, that creates behavior. Remember, Your behavior is generated by your feelings, and your feelings are generated by your thoughts, and your thoughts come from what you believe to be true about yourself and the world you live in. This world is in trouble. There are a lot of difficult things happening at this time, but we want you to know that every single one of us in the non-physical is on your side. We are here to help you understand the nature of reality, and we are here to tell you that there is a great revolution brewing beneath the surface of all the warmongering that you are seeing. There are many, many beings around this world that are holding the frequency of love, that are calling in love, that are transforming their minds into accord with love. Join that love revolution, and you will be doing the most powerful thing you can for those beings that you love, including yourself. We are Ananda, we are guides and teachers. We are happy to be disseminating this material through this particular being, and we hope that you will join us on this journey together. We are here to help you all align with love, and in that alignment you will bring peace to your planet, and there is plenty of energy in the form of light and love, and this blessed planet on which you find yourself, she is so generous with her energy, providing the nutrition and the place for you all to make your homes. But you are confused and you are lost in fear and anger and destructive thinking, and we want you to let that go, and these teachings will assist you on that journey if you allow them, if you make the decision in favor of love. We will speak to you again soon.
Thank you, Tina, and Jesus, and Ananda.
And throat.
And throat, and body, and
body,
mind,
yeah.
and everything. Yeah, so I would like to say thank you for everyone new that has joined. And this has been a free broadcast of what we're doing 2 times a week. No, 2 times a month. Sorry. And we're always, this is a paid service normally, but right now it's a free one. So we would like to offer a year. Normally that costs $333 a year to be a member. But we're giving away for 222 this time for all our new people. And what you're getting there is then 2 of these streamings every month. And you're getting an email in advance for that. We store at least 10 recorded streamings in our backlog, so you can watch them later if you can attend the live streaming. And you, of course, there's lots of transmissions from Jesus and Ananda that they do regularly. So they invite you to take in their energy and stuff if you allow them to do that. There's also a secret Facebook group for all our members that we discuss spiritual discussions and stuff after and before each event. And there is also 60% discount of all new video releases and things that we release. And we always treat our premium members special than everyone else, because we know that they're paying. So we're always giving them first dibs on anything that we kind of give out. So if you would like to participate, I'm now sending a link. So if you go on to ChannelingJesus.com, there's a link to premium subscription there. And all you have to do is subscribe and add the coupon code Bliss and Love in all capital and all in one word, no spaces. Bliss and Love. So if you would like to do that, go for it. And then maybe we will have some more family members in our special little group. So that would be awesome.
Well, before we go, I just want to thank everybody who came to the retreat, and we had a very interesting time. It was a lot of work, but really, really amazing gathering. My voice burnt out by Friday night. I couldn't go to the last dinner, so I apologize for those of you that I said I was going to come to dinner on Friday night. I just could not talk anymore. But we are going to be doing another Salt Spring retreat next year. So those of you that are members will get to know about that first. Of course, we'll be booking that relatively soon, so you'll get lots of lead time to decide. And we will be yeah, I think that's all I have to say about that. And for those of you that weren't able to attend this time, you will get to see us, I'm sure, in person some point soon. We are working on some other retreats in other parts of the world, so don't despair. We will be coming your way at some point in the next year or two, I'm sure of it.
Thank you very much, Tina. I really appreciate your channelings. I think they're wonderful. So I just want to say that. And I also want to say from my end that I also didn't attend the bonfire because I was also so tired. And I also had to get up at 4 in the morning to drive the last group to the ferry. So yeah, I wish I was there, but sometimes you have to listen to your body so that you can function another day. So
yeah. Anyway, it was a joy to have everyone there. I know some people tried to come or couldn't come, and were very disappointed. But we just have to keep on trucking and know that we can shift things. We can turn the nightmare into a happy dream. So hopefully you'll be able to come to the next one. Anyway, that's it for my voice. I'm going to be traveling a little bit in the next while, so we may move the channeling a little bit coming up in the next month. So just be prepared for that. And of course, as always, Ken will let you know well in advance when we are going to have a session. So
yeah, I usually send out 1 week before, and then a day before, and then an hour before usually. So that's how it kind of happens. So if you don't get them, check your spam and all that stuff. So
yeah. Okay, everybody. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.